Winter 2021. What a season. We had a lot of continuations and sequels and some really amazing shows for the start of 2021. But with one continuation in particular, it really boosted my enjoyment of this season and even made this particular show one of my all-time favorites. ReZero Season 2 second half officially boosted ReZero to one of my top 10, if not top 5, favorite anime of all time. The first half of the season came out in summer of 2020. It was amazing and it kept me watching week after week. And Season 2's second half came out in the winter, and altogether just a really amazing season that I just cannot believe is this good, and we had to wait so long. With everything that happened within Season 1 of ReZero, Season 2 improved upon what I liked and corrected what I disliked about the series, making it, in my eyes, practically a masterpiece. Victory! Now, ReZero Season 2 was honestly something that I did not expect how much of a wild ride it would end up being. With everything that happened with the first season, I was like, okay, things seem to be going Subaru's way. And then I watched the director's cut of Season 1, so as an excuse to rewatch ReZero. And then that post-credits scene of Emilia not knowing who Rem is instantly caught my attention. Now, this was something that I did not see coming because I really loved Rem. I think everyone that has seen ReZero just loves Rem.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
But this actually gives us an opportunity with how Rem is basically out of the story, while she is one of Subaru's main objectives in this current season. It actually introduces us to some other levels of difficulty for Subaru and also the rest of the cast, because now some events play out differently in other people's heads now that Rem is gone, and that is a pretty good motivation. And this also gives more spotlight on Emilia, because if we all remember, Emilia did not have that much to do in the first season, aside from when she was introduced, a couple of moments with Subaru, her getting mad at Subaru, and a whole bunch of different stuff from Season 1. I did not really enjoy Emilia as much as I'm sure a lot of people have. But the appeal of the story of this season is because it doesn't just focus on Subaru, it focuses on Emilia and the rest of the extended cast, giving them all some much needed development in times to shine. Especially characters that did not really do too much in the first season, like for instance, Roswell was just there, more or less. But Roswell became a much more important character in the second season, and that really made me appreciate his character and the rest of the story. The most interesting thing about this season was not just about the story, but how the story was told. We come hot off the heels of a pretty good ending with, in all honesty, if ReZero did not get as popular as it is now, it probably would have just stayed with that Season 1 finale, and that could have just been it. They could have just left it ambiguous for what could happen. But when the second season was announced, and it was said to be a 2-core and split between 2 different seasons, it was actually something pretty interesting, because the very first half was basically giving us some hope and then ripping that away from us almost instantly. With the first episode, we got rid of a fan favorite character. I mean, not dead, but, you know, basically in a coma, and no one remembers them. We get some hope on not just advancing through the story, but also getting us some nice moments with the other characters that we haven't seen in a while. And then have a bunch of shit happen to Subaru that is basically just pure suffering. Now, Season 1 had Subaru suffer a lot, but this season alone had so much happen that sometimes it was even hard for me to watch some of the moments in the show with Subaru because but it was focused purely on Subaru, his backstory, and what made him who he is, and how he went past that to try and be better. Not to mention, we actually get some more lore and depth to the world of ReZero that I wouldn't say we craved it as much as we wanted, but it's something that you didn't know you wanted until you got it. This season introduced us to so many different things that happened in the past with some backstories to certain characters, especially Emilia's backstory we actually get in this season. It just ties in a whole bunch of different stuff, makes a lot of moments from Season 1 and this season make a whole lot more sense, as well as characters' motivations and their actions, but it leaves us off with just enough to make us want more until we end off the first half of the season with the possibility that things can in fact get better. In the second half, while not, I wouldn't say brutal as the first half, gives us all the insight, lore, and development that we needed from all the characters involved in this season, and it was just fantastic. It felt well earned. There was no real way for you to be upset of what happened in this season, you know, aside from Rem being in a coma for the whole time. But the whole point of the second half was to give us some really high stakes moments, but have some really great payoff to the events from the first half. Characters actually grow, we get to see multiple sides to them. I honestly don't know what else to say. The story of Re:Zero evolved to become something a lot more than just, oh, this is an isekai with a twist, and this main character is suffering. Oh, and waifus. A whole lot of waifus. The way the story was told, it helped make the characters grow, appreciate each other, and rely on each other. It even pushed Subaru to actually rely on everyone around him, trust them fully, and make them better as well. They make him better, and he in turn makes them better, and helps them grow and overcome whatever trauma they've overcome in the past. But one that really, really helps understand everything that happens in the second season is if you watch the Re:Zero Frozen Bonds OVA, because that actually makes a whole lot more sense when we get into Emilia's growth and development, especially in the second half. What was basically marketed to us from Re:Zero's first season was supposed to be that Subaru and Emilia were supposed to be basically the two leads of the story. This season, especially the second half, really made you feel like she was a protagonist, because she went through a lot of development, a lot of stuff like, you know, overcoming your past, seeing things that you may not want to see, even learning new things about themselves and others. And this development, it feels like this could have been something that could have been dragged out for seasons on end, for one giant climactic thing, possibly for a fight. But no, it was honestly purely natural. It didn't feel rushed at all. The season itself had some pretty great pacing, in my opinion, though I believe people that have read the light novels stated that some parts were shaved off for time. Speaking of time, something I really do like with how Re:Zero does things is how a lot of times it skips the openings and even endings to give us more time with the show. I believe the second half of the season only played the opening and ending, I believe, twice throughout the entirety of the second half. Meanwhile, practically every episode was just more or less 30 minutes of just straight content, which gives us more of what we wanted to see, and it doesn't make the finale any less rushed or missing a lot. And I watch a lot of anime and read a lot of manga now, and I love a lot of stories. Hell, Attack on Titan, I love One Piece. Those are two of my favorite series of all time. Re:Zero just bumped itself right up there, primarily with the anime department. I have not read the light novel, but maybe one day I will. Don't get your hopes up, Cake. I am not promising that.
Look at it! Look at it! Look at it!
What really helps set this season apart from season 1 is the brilliant way it's not just animated, but also the cinematography used and symbolism in multiple scenes. Whether it be the most impactful or the most important scenes, it's also the shot composition and music that really sets it apart from the first season, making it even better than it was initially. The soundtrack for the season was honestly really great. We do get some returning tracks, but not to a very large extent. But what we do get, the new soundtracks, it's just really damn nice to listen to. It really sells the scenes that they're using, whether they be serious or emotional or dire. And the cinematography used, whether it be the camera angles or how some characters are expressed in the actions that are being taken, it just makes everything feel more real. I know this is weird saying this for like an animated series, but with the performances of the voice actors and how things are animated and shot, it really hits home. And it's something that anybody could really enjoy. I know I could go as far as to say, even if you're not an anime fan, if you watch the show, you will actually really enjoy it. But what makes the animation even more impressive is the fact that the first half came out in the summer of 2020, right after like basically the whole world was put on lockdown and a lot of this stuff had to happen at home. And that's only makes things a lot more impressive for Studio White Fox, because you really know that they care about making this as good as they possibly can. That's saying something, because from what I hear, a lot of animators in Japan don't really get paid as much as they should, or less than they expected. When they make Re:Zero, especially this season, and more primarily the second half, which is just breathtaking, you can tell it's a passion project. When a studio cares this much about making everything as good as possible, you know that they're doing it because they enjoy making it. When someone enjoys making something, it just comes out that much more amazing. They really do care. It's not a cash grab. They're just doing this because it's popular. They're making it as good as possible because they actually like it. They actually like making it. It makes sense. They don't have to do everything so flawlessly when it's being broadcast on television. Everything gets perfected on Blu-ray discs, more or less now. And I have to commend the studio for that, because it made me really love Re:Zero. I liked Re:Zero when I first watched it. I thought it was a really good show, but I was never like super invested in it to the point where I obsessed over it every week. I binge watched Re:Zero about 2 years ago. I ended up watching it and I loved it. But the second season, it just felt different. most likely for everything I just mentioned. It always kept me watching. I was on the edge of my seat almost every single episode. It just made me really enjoy the series that much more. And you can bet after this video is recorded, I'm going to rewatch this again, and I'll probably see if I can get as many friends as possible to actually give this show a shot, even if they are not anime fans. In all honesty, if I had to rate this series, I'd have to give it a 10 out of 10 at this point. Well, it's not my favorite of all time, my number one. It's definitely top 5, maybe top 3. It all depends on how I feel after another rewatch. But if we get that 3rd season and it comes next year instead of giving us another 4-year wait, because from what I hear, the light novel has enough material for maybe 1, maybe 2 more seasons. ReZero, if it isn't a masterpiece already, it's already on the verge of being that. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I am trying to get back into making my anime content because I've been focusing a lot on manga content recently. Even though those are fun to make, I'm going to try and make more anime related content and reviews. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this ReZero video. Maybe I'll make theories on what can happen in ReZero in the future. Light novel readers, do not spoil me on anything. In case you missed an update video that I did earlier, my channel was taken down by a bunch of copyright strikes in March. Like literally once the month started, so I was not unable to upload for a whole month. So this video was supposed to come out a while ago, but unfortunately that was not the case. So hopefully when I get this video out, the channel is honestly thriving and I made up for lost time. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I will make more content in the future. I'm trying my best because I really do think this channel can grow, because it has gone through pretty significant growth over the past couple of months, ever since this year started, and I really look forward to seeing how things end up progressing. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @TheGreekWeeb to try so you can get updates on future videos and what I could potentially tease for future videos. And with all that said and done, I hope you guys have an awesome day.